Oh, wait, I
man.
have to close out the names, the participants on the side, and we should be balling. Um, this is episode number 38.
38.
Oh, wait, names in the bottom. I'm bugging out here. Okay. I'm new to OBS, fellas. Give me a break. We are live for episode number 38 here. Hello and welcome. Episode number 38 of the Wise Guys podcast. Oh, wait, I'm not recording. And Zoom.
Huh?
That's an issue. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Now we should be good. Am I late? There you go. Oh, shoot. Technical difficulties, man.
We're good. We stride through them.
We are live right now, so I look like a buffoon. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome. Episode number 38 of the Wise Guys podcast. I'm John Tortorelli with my co-host Brandon Capizillo. Today we have a lot of crazy stuff in the NFL world to discuss. J-Red is just getting back from the Field of Dreams, which is awesome. Unfortunately, though, he will not make it with us today. He will be back for tomorrow's episode discussing the NBA as the season begins. This summer has went by so quickly. It is unbelievable. And to say that basketball starts tomorrow along with football, man, it's wild. But how you
Dude, it's
feeling
about
today,
to
bro?
be November, John. I mean, whew. Go ahead, though.
Your boy has a cough as well over here, so if you hear the cough drops while I'm speaking, I apologize. We're going to make it through this episode. And starting off, BCAP, the New York Jets on Sunday played a fantastic defensive game against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, albeit Green Bay's offense this year has not been all of that. But the Jets' 17-point win over Green Bay gives us a very clear idea of where this franchise is headed. Right now, I look at the top teams in the NFL. I cannot name 10 better teams than the Jets. Defensively, they're getting back to that root of the Rex Ryan identity. Quinnen Williams impacting the game in multiple phases. Blocked field goal, 7 pressures, multiple sacks, a strip sack. Sauce Gardner, so far I would say the rookie of the year defensively. And then a bunch of depth and versatility. LaMarcus Joyner this year is healthy. CJ Mosley's getting back after basically 2 years off in 2019 and 2020. Carl Lawson's back from his torn Achilles, and John Franklin Myers in the middle at defensive tackle. This Jets defense is well on its way to taking flight. They're not top 10 or top 5 just yet, but they will be by the end of the season. And right now, we are seeing a young running back in New York, not only Saquon Barkley, but Breece Hall, that is bringing the versatility and all-around production that Jet fans hoped they would get from Le'Veon Bell 3.5 years ago. Except it's a rookie making much, much less money. For Zach Wilson, it hasn't been very easy in his first 3 weeks back from injury. The offensive line has been very inconsistent, wobbly. The receivers, Elijah Moore, voiced his dissatisfaction with 0 targets in the Packers game. My apologies. And still, the New York Jets are 4-2, better than any team in the AFC North. And keep in mind, the first 4 weeks of the season for them, they played every team in the North. They've beaten a handful of playoff teams. And now, Brandon, I'm going to say it, the Jets are a top 5 team in football. Let me repeat it for the people in the back. The New York Jets, right now, on October 17th, 2022, are a top 5 team in the NFL.
Nope. Nope.
Hate your fan over here.
You need to be. Oh my God. Okay. I don't even know where to begin. First off, I can name 10 teams off the top of my head better than the New York Jets. But what you just said is just it's really befuddled me. Like I am. What do you mean they're a top 5 like currently going forward? How is this even, do you realize Zach Wilson completed 10 passes yesterday, right?
You realized he went 1 of 11 on third down and still beat Aaron Rodgers, right?
Okay, but the Packers are not a good team. We're seeing that. And we all had our what's the word I'm looking for? Our worries about the Packers going into the season. We all did.
Sure.
I I really don't know where to go with the top 5 team. What do you like?
Top 5 defense, top 10 team in football.
Oh, okay. But still, top 10 team. I can't get on board with that. I can't get on board with that. No,
This is the type of team that's going to get better as the year goes on.
All right, let me ask you this question. So they're better than Miami?
Without Tua, yes. With Tua,
Well, Tua's coming back. We know that. I'm pretty sure Tua's starting next week.
with Tua, no.
Okay. They're not better than Buffalo, right? Okay. And I don't know where you stand with this, but this is what I would say. Who did the Jets play last week? Do you remember off the top of your head? Who did they play last week? Was it? I seriously can't remember. Did you actually know?
You throw me into a gaze. I thought the Steeler game was the week before.
Okay, they played Miami last week. Okay, Miami. With the seventh round kid, Teddy Bridgewater got knocked out. Okay. So they won against that game, but that we obviously know Tua's coming back, and you just said you agree. So they've got New England twice coming up still. I'm gonna sit here and say right now, the New England Patriots' last two wins have been far more impressive than the Jets' last two wins.
How about the Jets starting off the year 2-1 with Joe Flacco?
No, I didn't say that. My statement was the last two wins, the last 2 weeks, the New England Patriots have been far more impressive than the New York Jets. Bailey Zappi has actually played much better than Zach Wilson.
1-2, my apologies. The Jets were not 2-1 to start. I was wrong there.
We held the Detroit Lions going into that week, the number one scoring offense, 0 points. We got shut out. Goose egg. Then we come back and we played the number one running game in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. It might be number two now, but I think it was number one coming into that week with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb had 56 yards rushing, and Kareem Hunt had less than 20 yards off the top of my head. Shut them down. Bailey Zappi threw for 300-plus yards. John, so I ask you, because the Jets and Patriots play next, not this upcoming week, but the week after, so in 2 weeks. I'm telling you right now, the New England Patriots are going to beat the New York Jets.
You know, Brandon, beating them is one thing. Being the better team at the end of the season is a completely different one. Last year, the Jets started the most rookies in the NFL. This year, they're starting 4 of them. This is one of the youngest teams in the league that, over the last 3 weeks, has just continued to get better and better. I was wrong before. They didn't start the year 1-2, or 2-1. They started 1-2. And since then, they're 3-0 with Zach Wilson. And Zach, he hasn't had the production, but given what he's being placed into, the situation, he's constantly under pressure. He can't always progress through all of his reads. And the receiving core is young still. This team is only going to improve as the year goes on. And given the discipline this defense has continued to build and the star talent across the roster, in 15 weeks, I said to myself, the Jets can easily be playing 13 weeks. The Jets can easily be playing a wild card game.
But I'll go even more for the Patriots are sweeping the Jets this year.
No.
Yeah. Zach Wilson played well against us. His last year was his rookie year. Both games he played like garbage. The first game was terrible. He had 4 interceptions. And then the second game he got knocked out. I think in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. I'm forgetting off the top of my head. And he was playing bad up until that point. Like, what do you think is going to change this year? Is our defense actually let me ask you this, because I'm pretty sure you and Justin both said that the Patriots defense was worse coming into this year than it was last year. You still agree with that statement? Seeing what we've done, especially the last 2 weeks.
They've done what New England always does.
Yeah.
But
that's a cop-out. That's a cop-out answer. Our defense is just fine, which I said it was going to be just fine. I said top 10. We're easily top 10. Easily. Zach Wilson, what does New England do best defensively? What does Bill do best? Take away what you're best at. What do the Jets do best? Run the football, would we say on offense? They run the football. Look what we just did to the number one running team in football. You think Breece Hall is going to have a big day? So we're going to make Zach Wilson beat us. So those 10 completions, that ain't going to work, buddy. Those 14 last week, I'm pretty sure he had, that ain't going to work, Bubba.
The Jets have better weapons than Cleveland. At receiver and tight end?
Outside?
Yeah. I'll take Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, and Tyler Conklin over Amari Cooper, Donovan People-Jones, and David Bell.
David Njoku.
He has that one game every couple of weeks.
It's okay. Jets is deeper, yes. But I think Amari Cooper clears everybody on the Jets. I still give Amari Cooper that credit. He's still a true number one receiver. I'm not even. But again, we have one of the best secondaries in the league. And need I remind you? I don't think you knew this. Our best cornerback, Jonathan Jones, he didn't play yesterday. No, he didn't play. He's going to play when we face the Jets in 2 weeks. You can believe that. So, again, your argument that the Jets are a top 10 team when you have disrespected my New England Patriots week after week after week. I want to hear your mouth say it because you know in your heart and you know in your head that when push comes to shove and when the money's pushed to the middle of the table, Zach Wilson ain't going to get it done against Bill Belichick-led defense. Not going to happen.
They only play each other twice this year.
But Jets, again, that's big, though. That's huge. Those are big games.
The Jets and New England are two teams who have been missing their young second-year quarterback for half the season. They have young, very good running back tandems or cores because Michael Carter, much like the Patriots have a very nice duo at running back. The Jets change of pace and a bell cow, but the Jets' weapons I would take over them slightly. The offensive line. Oh,
another thing I forgot because you brought up running backs. You know who else didn't play yesterday for the Patriots? Damian Harris. Continue.
The offensive line, the Patriots have a better one. No one's going to disagree or dispute that. But defensively, the Jets just have more upside. They have so many true blue chip prospects and guys that not only blue chips, but true guys that can take over games. Sauce Gardner this year has been phenomenal. Yesterday was playing out of his mind against Aaron Rodgers. This guy's just 6 weeks into his NFL career. Quinnen Williams is taking that huge step up, and we're seeing Robert Saleh's defense with the necessary personnel go from the dead last unit in the NFL last year to top 10 this year, and from here on out, it's only going up.
I would just say they're not a top 10 defense. I mean, not top 10 team. Again, we're getting our quarterback back that next week against the Bears, Monday night primetime game. Mac Jones is most likely going to play. I don't see it, man. Like, again, you say you see a lot more promise and talent on the Jets. And again, I keep saying this to you guys, you and Justin and everybody watching. Like, you guys get caught up in the talent so much. You really do. And maybe it's because I'm a New England Patriots fan that I understand it. Like, I see it in a different way a little bit because Bill is taking guys and he's coached them up to get the best of their abilities. So, yes, is Sauce Gardner more gifted and talented than Jonathan Jones? Yeah. But Jonathan Jones is just playing better. And I know it's unfair to compare. He's a rookie and Jonathan Jones is, but Jonathan Jones was what? Like, I think a second or third round draft pick, maybe even lower. Sauce Gardner was a first round pick. I think he was top 10 if I'm I don't know.
Jonathan Jones went undrafted.
So that even gives him even more credit. Thank you. So again, we got this kid, Jack Jones, who's had two big games against the Packers and then the game before that, the game after that, I'm forgetting. Detroit, yeah. He's playing really good, and he was a third or fourth round pick. We've got guys, like, I know that they're not big names. Like, Devin McCourty is one of our biggest names. He's in the later years of his career. Matthew Judon is our best player probably on the entire team. He's phenomenal. But we don't have these, these guys that you're like, oh, I can start them off the name Von Miller, blah, blah, JJ Watt, whoever. We don't have that name value. But we got guys that compete. We got guys that do their job. We got guys that, most importantly, play smart football. And that's what it's about. We got to play smart football. And when push comes to shove, I trust a Bill Belichick-led team over a New York Jets team that has Zach Wilson under center. And like I've said before, and what I can keep saying because it's true, Zach Wilson, not special.
You only say that because you're a New England fan. Because
No, I
every
don't.
single week he has shown the arm talent, and given the offensive line is still not there, they're missing their left tackle, and Dwayne Brown's 37 years old, he has played really well given what he's being placed into. He's evading pressure, escaping sacks, and generally speaking, taking decent care of the football. After missing the first 3 weeks, this is basically an extension of his rookie year. He missed
One touchdown to
so
2
many
interceptions.
reps.
He hasn't thrown a touchdown in the last 2 weeks.
He's taking care of the moving the chains to some of he. Okay, let me take that back. They were 1 of 11 yesterday on third down. He's not moving the chains.
John,
but
he
Zach
threw
Wilson,
for 110 yards. He only threw the ball 18 times yesterday.
on the road in Lambeau against the defense that played better
That's
yesterday.
not
They
been
sent
playing.
the heat. Jair Alexander was back, and that's one of the best secondaries in the NFL. So I apologize. He's not moving the chains, but
Packers
this
are
offense,
soft. Packers team is soft.
defensively, they play very passive, but still, when you compare the offense line the Jets have and how much work and how much progress they can make, given how young they are,
No.
to a team in Green Bay that's supposed to be contending, they're so much further along than everybody expected, and they're better
We've
coached
seen
than
that.
most expected.
We saw this. We saw the cracks and everything when the Packers played the Patriots. We saw that because that never should have been a 27-24 game when Mac Jones went out with Bailey Zappi. That never should have been a 27-24 game. The Packers of the last 3 years would have blown that team out. It wouldn't have gone to overtime. No, there's no way. We know this about the Packers team this year. They are sorely missing Devontae Adams. And I was listening to Dan Orlovsky about an hour ago or so, and he was saying, and Ryan Clark echoed his comments, the Packers are playing like they still have a superstar number one receiver. And they don't, because they're playing in shotgun a lot more. Like 80%, 75% of the time, they're in shotgun instead of under center. When they've got 2 bell cow running backs that can help with the play action and getting these receivers that aren't as talented and gifted as Devontae Adams the football. It's just Matt LaFleur. You're getting. We all know this. You got carried. You rode the coattails of Aaron Rodgers. That's a fact. And he has. You put anybody in that situation.
Sure.
They're succeeding. And if you put like a Mike McDaniel, or Brian Daboll, they're doing an even better job than Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur has not done a very good job. Why is if you lose Devontae, all right, the Packers need to need to be in the sweepstakes for a DJ Moore.
Or any high-level receiver.
Yeah, simple as that. Well, he's just the one that comes to mind because the Panthers are on fire sale mode.
I raised my eyes because you talked about the Patriots yesterday limiting Nick Chubb to 56 yards. But the Jets limited Green Bay's entire running game to 60 on 19 carries, just 3 yards an attempt, which, by the way, is less than what the Patriots gave up. They gave up more. Chubb still had almost 5 yards on average.
But John, like I just said, remember, the Packers are playing more out of shotgun. Patriots are more under center. Running the football is easier under center than it is from shotgun. And it sets up the play action even more. The Patriots are going to play a different style of football. We play smash mouth. We're not a finesse team. Not like 10 years ago. We're not a finesse team anymore. We smash mouth. So, again, these Jets team. I'm sorry, John. And we have a better O-line than the Packers. Maybe not talented wise, but overall and how we're playing, our O-line's playing much better.
Performing better.
Yeah, performing
Now
better.
that we've touched on Green Bay lightly, I'm asking you the question.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Packers anything more than a wild card team? Because right now I watch this squad play over the last 3-4 weeks, and I say to myself, this is not only the second best team in the NFC North, which is not something we're used to saying, but they're barely a playoff team. And if this doesn't change, the way the coaching defensively has been, it was better yesterday against the Jets, but still, special teams had a very crucial blocked punt. The offense just lacked dynamicism. Randall Cobb has an ankle injury, probably going to be on IR for some time. Right now, the Packers are nothing more than a 9-win team.
So what I will say to you is, currently constructed, or are they going to go make a move?
You know what the Packers do. You know what this franchise stands for. Every year we talk about, oh, they're going to sign OBJ. They're going to make this trade. They never do. They're not going to make a move. I doubt it.
Okay. So currently constructed, yeah, no. I think they can get into the playoffs because I think Aaron Rodgers is still that time. What's surprising to me is that Aaron Rodgers is not playing very well in the regular season. That's what should be shocking because he is one of the greatest regular season quarterbacks of all time. It's just not working with these receivers. I think that they can make the playoffs, though, as a wild card team. I still think they can.
Sitting at 3.
And I'm not 100% convinced in the Vikings either because Kirk is still Kirk Cousins.
Well, the Vikings are 5-1. The Packers are just
But they can fall
3-3.
apart. They can fall apart.
Yes, but they're not playing enough primetime games realistically, and Kirk has a very good team around him. He's comfortable in that offense, and I think Kevin O'Connell has done a very good job as a rookie. So that's a stable 10-11 win team. Green Bay, while they are 3-3, Rodgers did say post-game he had discussed with their GM Brian Gutekunst, the guy that took Quay Walker over George Pickens. They have had a number of conversations that have involved making moves ahead of the trade deadline. So you know what, Brandon? For the sake of argument here, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to list you a handful of receivers around the league. Robbie Anderson before he got traded to the Cardinals after Marquise Brown's injury, playing him in IR for a 5th and 6th round pick. So we know Carolina is having a fire sale. It's very apparent. DJ Moore for a 2nd round pick in 2024. When you make that move, you're the Packers.
Yeah.
I would as well. I think DJ Moore would add a vertical dimension to this offense they sorely lack.
Now, I will say I don't think now I'm not going to question DJ Moore's talent, but he still hasn't played very well.
Wow.
And he had a solid
Brandon,
connection
don't do
with
this.
PJ Walker last year. I'm talking even PJ Walker though. I'm pretty sure he had a solid connection with PJ Walker last year, and we didn't see that last week at all. Like, dude, the guy's not even getting solid yardage.
He's had a constant flex at quarterback, and
John, DeAndre Hopkins balled out.
That's a Hall of Famer.
What quarterback? Okay. I'm just saying, though. I'm just naming number 1 receivers. AJ Green, Andy Dalton.
which DJ Moore is a low-end number 1.
But go ahead. Did you have another name? Receiver?
Yeah, I just think you shouldn't be hypercritical of a guy that's quarterbacks have
I'm not.
been.
I just said that would be a concern that he's still not, even though his quarterback play has not been very well, he's still not getting numbers, at least somewhat numbers. Like even Robbie Anderson scored a big time touchdown.
Okay, that is somewhat reasonable, but I just don't.
I'm not
think
questioning his talent. I still think he's very talented.
I just don't think you understate what he would do with Rodgers after spending his first 4 years with Cam Newton, Kyle Allen, Walker, Darnold, and Mayfield. The next guy up, BCAP, is actually a New England Patriot. Kendrick Bourne for a 4th round pick. And then a 6 as well. Would you do that if you're a Green Bay?
No. Doesn't change life for Green Bay, I don't think.
He would be their number 1 receiver. I think he's a little bit better than Lazard. Lazard has improved a little bit, but Kendrick Bourne is a better player.
I know, but we're not talking number 1s. We're talking like number 2s, and yeah, I think Kendrick Bourne is best as a number 2.
Yeah, that's very reasonable, but that might be enough for Green Bay because so far this year, Romeo Doubs has showed the upside to be an X. If Bourne's playing alongside him, Christian Watson's being worked in as a 3rd or 4th because he's still got Cobb. I think I have to check. He's maybe going to come back as well. That might hold them over for a year. The last guy, he had a very good week for the Steelers. I don't think he's going to be traded. But we're having fun here. Chase Claypool for a 3rd-round pick. You're going to have to pay him.
I don't think that changed his life because I think Claypool and Lazard are very similar receivers, and
Christian Watson.
Yeah, so Watson's got at least speed. He can run fast. Lazard and Claypool are more like physical, go get the ball, 50-50 guys.
And Claypool, he's been very underwhelming with the 50-50s. This last week for him, though, was one of the best career days he's had thus far. So
there's not many like receivers out there. I mean,
Denzel Mims,
high end, like Michael Thomas, he's injured. I don't think the Saints would let him go. Who else is out there? Like Scary Terry, maybe.
I wouldn't want
Terry McLaurin. I don't think the Commanders would let him go though. There's not many. DK, they wouldn't trade DK. No, there's not many like receivers out there that are like, on the block, high ones. High-ranking ones, I should say.
Yeah, we saw a lot of those guys get their extensions this last summer.
Yeah, or traded.
That is
AJ Brown, he's got traded. Marquise Brown got traded. Devontae Adams.
The Packers' best option is Sonny Odell.
Yeah, but he's going to LA.
I don't think so. I think he's going to Buffalo.
He is. He's going to LA.
I think he's going back to New York.
LA. He's going to LA.
Why would he want to go to that mess?
He's not going to a mess. I guarantee you he's going to LA, John. You can book it right now. He's going to LA.
We'll see. We'll come back in, 6-7 weeks. Moving on to the New York Football Giants, BCAP. You said last week the NFC East is a beneficiary of very easy schedules, very easy games. And the Giants came out and at home beat the Baltimore Ravens with a second-half rally. And now we're looking at back-to-back weeks where they've beaten Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, and in week 1, a Tennessee team that has looked solid this year. They have one of the best coaches in football. I ask you, the Giants' upcoming schedule is one of the easiest in football. I think they're going to at least split in these next 3 games, which would set them up to start the year 8-4. So next week, they have the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Seattle Seahawks, which is only one of the 2 teams that are 500 they're playing, the Detroit Lions.
No, you got the Texans next.
The Texans, yeah.
And then the Lions.
Then the Cowboys. November 24th.
I'm going to tell you this.
I think it's Thanksgiving.
Listen, a lot of people said that, or I was listening to a show, and they were saying the Giants could be 9-1, winning their next 4. I don't see that. I think the Jaguars have lost their last 2, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 3. They need a win. They need to get a win. They need to get back on track. And Trevor Lawrence, he played phenomenal yesterday. He only missed 2 passes the entire game. It's in Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville can get a W there. They're desperate. They need to get a dub. Seattle, I'm sorry. I remember the hype like last week or 2 weeks ago of everybody and their mother saying Geno Smith is better than Russell Wilson. And Geno Smith is playing like a top 10 quarterback. All of a sudden, now the Giants are just going to roll into Seattle with the 12th man and beat the Seahawks. Okay. Texans, I'll give you. Giants are going to beat the Texans. It's in New York. And then the Lions will give anybody a tough out. It's in New York, so that's favoring New York, but the Lions will give anybody a tough out. So, listen, man, they could easily lose 3 games right there. Easily lose 3 games.
Yeah, that's the case. And they win 3. That's 8 wins before December even begins. And you want to know the craziest thing about that, BCAP?
Let me hear it.
They've had 0 games yet against the Commanders.
Yeah.
That's 2 wins.
But again, I heard that before, but are we going to sit here and act like that's not a divisional game? Like, even a terrible team will play you good if you're in the division. Like, we've seen that multiple times throughout the history of the NFL. I'm not going to sit here and say the Commanders are going to win both games, but could they beat New York in Washington? 100%. That could happen.
I think it's rather safe to assume the Giants at least take one of those 2 games.
Yes. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying we can't sit here and say Giants are 100% going to sweep the Commanders twice. It's a divisional game. Like, the Commanders can still win a game.
That's reasonable.
Taylor Heineke's back under center. We all like ourselves a Taylor Heineke. I think he's got moxie, dude. I like that kid. I like him.
Ideal backup.
Yeah, like the spunk.
But here's the thing, BCAP. They're missing Kadarius Toney, the fourth receiver taking a loaded receiver class. Wan'Dale Robinson just came back. Saquon has been dealing with shoulder issues. Daniel Jones been playing through an ankle injury. And the 7th overall pick in Kayvon Thibodeau missed the first 3 weeks of the season with a sprained MCL. You now inject all of that talent to the receiver room with an offensive line that's not very good, but Andrew Thomas is an elite left tackle, and Saquon, in spite of the O-line, is playing at an offensive player of the year caliber level. This Giants offense is doing enough to win games in the winning moments.
So what I'll say is, I'm sorry, our new dog just freaked out upstairs, and I missed the first part of what you said. Could you repeat what you said?
I think that was his excitement of Kadarius Toney playing NFL football.
No, it was a cry for help. I think he was upset at your take, John. Yeah, what you said about the Giants? You said, they're dealing with injuries. That's what I wanted to attack. Right? I'm not giving you that anymore, John. We had this discussion. Me, you, and Justin, we're all here. We had this discussion. You don't do that. You said, and I quote, if you're injured, I'm going to evaluate them. So evaluate them, John. Evaluate them.
He's been out with a hamstring injury.
No, I'm talking to everybody else because you said Daniel Jones is playing through injury. I don't care if Daniel Jones wasn't playing through injury. He'd still be giving you the same game-managing quarterback and below-average quarterbacks numbers that he's giving you. He's not giving you good
What's the problem with these winning games?
I'm not saying there's a problem, but I'm not going to sit here and act like Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback when he's not.
Well, that's stating the obvious. What hasn't been said about Daniel Jones at this point? The end of the day, you look at this Giant team, Daniel Jones is running the offense at a good level. He's converting on possession downs, and he's using that athleticism and toughness to kind of instill the type of tone the Giants want to set. And Brian Daboll, the offensive coordinator, has maximized the skill set of this entire offense, which doesn't have much currently, but when you get all of that talent back, by week 15, let's say, you have Toney on the outside, Sterling Shepard won't be back, but you will have Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton, who's played relatively well. That's a good receiving core. You got a little bit of versatility there and a high upside guy in Toney.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about is the receivers that you named. Again, none of those receivers blow my hair back, especially when you got a Daniel Jones under center that's like, this isn't Aaron Rodgers we're talking about, and they're getting a Devontae Adams. These are guys that have talent, obviously, right? They have promise. They're young guys. But none of them are blowing your socks off. None of them. None of them are Justin Jefferson. None of them are Jamar Chase. I don't think so. Now, Saquon, I'll give you, Saquon been balling. But again, Saquon got hurt. Now, he played through that. But Saquon got hurt again.
You know who leads the NFL in yards from scrimmage this year, right?
Is it Saquon?
Not Justin Jefferson, not Jamar Chase, not Devontae Adams. It's the bell cow in that Giant offense.
Saquon Barkley. Listen, I'm not saying that they're not playing well, but I'm not going to overblow them still. I'm still not going to overblow them. Listen, this Ravens team also has fundamentally flaws. Lamar Jackson in the fourth quarter, John, this year, 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions. He has a QBR of 28. I think I saw they're a minus 42 in point differential in the fourth quarter this year. They can't close. This Ravens team can't close.
Fortunately,
and again, we were hyping the Ravens up, and Lamar especially too, earlier in the season, saying he's going to deserve his money. Guess what? These are the stats right here, John, that the Ravens front office is going to pull up and say, you're not getting 200 plus million, 250 million from us, because this is what's happening. Again, Giants are winning the games they're winning. Yeah, Giants are winning the games they're winning, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, life has changed in New York. Sorry.
If New York makes the playoffs this year, I want you to have the perspective in the last 12 years, since 2010, 3 New York teams, or New Jersey teams, because the Buffalo Bills, the New York team, have made the playoffs. The Jets in 2011 and the Giants in 2016 and 2011. I don't know if the Jets even made it during that time. So for the Giants to get into the playoffs, even if they lose in the wild card game, that is a huge thing for New York, much like the Knicks when they made in 2021. That's a huge step. Brian Dable will be the coach of the year. Saquon will be high up in the offensive player of the year race. And most of all, this defense, in spite of having a couple of injuries to some key young players, is showing a lot of upside. Leonard Williams, Kayvon Thibodeau, Julian Love. It's a very good unit, slowly developing. Most of all, this Giant team is well coached.
Still don't got a quarterback.
Here's what I
That's
value,
what it comes
Brandon.
down to.
A GM and Joe Shane who has come into New York, instilled the right principles, attacked the draft in a way that is conducive to building the team so that when the quarterback comes in to replace Daniel Jones, or if it's Daniel, they're set up to succeed. The situation will be great because you have a very good head coach that is young and very much maximized all of his talent from each of his last few steps in the league. Very good running back who will be back. An offensive line with two very good young tackles. Neal's developing. He has struggled as a rookie, but he's going to be a good player, I think. And defense that has star talent all across the board. That's a very good situation. You get Kadarius Toney to stop having all these hamstring injuries, and all of a sudden you have one of the better rosters, and most of all, a coach that's going to elevate that. It's going to make that roster really good.
I mean, I agree that the roster's good. You don't got a quarterback, so call me when you got a quarterback.
I really wish you had a little bit of perspective with this team.
I have perspective. Their perspective is they don't have a quarterback.
In 2 years down the line, Brandon, they will have a quarterback, and it may be
Who's
Daniel
going to be that
Jones, or it
quarterback?
may not. It could be a guy
CJ
through draft,
Stroud, Bryce,
Levis.
who? I don't know. How are they going to get those guys when they're having a very good season? How?
Well, they trade up in the draft.
Oh, they trade up. But they're going to have to give up some players, right?
I would package a couple of future firsts.
So you're going to package your firsts, right, for this quarterback. And guess but okay. We've seen it. I mean, over the past couple of years, the packaging of picks, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head which one has worked out in favor. The Eagles did it for Carson Wentz. That didn't work out.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields didn't work out.
Mitchell
RG3. Yep, Trubisky. RG3 looked like it was going to go good, but then it obviously flamed out. Again, I'm trying. Maybe I'm not remembering ones. So go ahead. You try your luck in that, New York Giants. Tell me. But call me when they got
Patrick Mahomes. My fault. I think.
Yeah, but
Patrick
okay,
Mahomes was
yeah, yes, they moved up. Yeah,
And if memory serves,
unless you're saying one of these kids is going to be Patrick Mahomes, okay.
and the Bills as well trade up to the 7th overall pick in 2018 too, because they made the playoffs that year. Yeah, they went 9-7 with Tyrod Taylor. So yeah, that's two teams, two best quarterbacks in the NFL, both trade up for.
Don't say that.
Right now, they're the two best quarterbacks in the league. You're going to say Tom Brady because of what he's done the last 2 decades. Resume-wise, he's the greatest, but that doesn't mean he's the best right now. If you plug him into a team, Josh Allen's going to elevate that group higher than Tom Brady.
Well,
Let's jump into it then. We're going to save the Chiefs-Bills talk for the end of the episode, but yesterday on not Sunday Night Football, I wish I could call it that, at 4:25, Buffalo rolled into Kansas City, and just like I told you, Brandon, Josh Allen had over 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a W. When looking at these two teams, they're the two best teams in the AFC by far and away. The third best team is what? Tennessee, Cincinnati, the Jets. Like those are the top 3 teams after them. It's not a long list because after that you got the Ravens who have not played particularly well, the Browns who knows what Deshaun Watson's going to be. When you look at these two teams, they're just iron sharpening iron at this point. You have a Bills defense that's missing Trey White, a Chiefs defense that's missing Willie Gay, Rashad Fenton, Trent McDuffie. They're rolling out their day 3 picks in the secondary, and this was one of the best games of the week. Josh Allen, especially later in the game, connecting on Dawson Knox. He also Gabe Davis as well earlier in the game. And this Bills offense is the most explosive one in football right now. Allen is the best quarterback in the league currently speaking. In terms of pure talents, I think I'd rather have Mahomes myself, but he's a little bit more athletic, a little bit bigger, a little bit of a stronger arm. Just in terms of talent, he has a little bit more than Mahomes. These passes he's ripping off are not okay. So now you pair that alongside Stephon, what has been said about Diggs, Gabriel Davis, who's breaking out big time, and yesterday the Bills ran the football well. My takeaway, Brandon, from this game is there's something missing in Kansas City. A little bit of a boost that I think has been left behind with Tyreek Hill. Juju had himself his best game yet as a Chief. 2 very good plays, one of which was a touchdown. Travis Kelce's Travis Kelce. But I say to myself, there is that vertical X factor who can give you a crosser over the middle, take you 25, 30 yards up the field, and can fill the role of a receiver number 1. That way Juju has less pressure on him. And that right there is DJ Moore. DJ Moore would come into this offense with Patrick Mahomes and I think establish himself as a true wide receiver number 1. I think for Kansas City, that is the one piece they are missing to beat a Buffalo, because this very much right now is an arms race between the two best teams. I think weapons right now should not be overvalued when you look at what it's done for Miami and many other teams like Cincinnati and Los Angeles.
I disagree with you. Tyreek Hill is not missed in Kansas City at all by Patrick Mahomes. And if he is, I mean, are we going to sit here and act like Kansas City just got blown out by Buffalo? It's a 4-point game, John. So that vaunted Bills offense that you just said is the most explosive in the league, and Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the league. They got held to 24 points by a defense that is not very good.
It is pretty average right now, and that's with guys being out. It's about league average.
Okay, but still, 24 points is all Josh Allen put up against this. Josh Allen played much better in the playoffs last year against the Chiefs than he did yesterday.
That was a historic
100%, right? 100%, right? What was the key difference in the game, in that game and this game? What was the difference, Sean?
I think both quarterbacks played at an insane level, and both defenses got shredded.
The key defense was the Bills' defense, which was top-notch last year, couldn't stop a nosebleed. What'd they do against Kansas City yesterday? Held Chiefs to 20 points. Now, Spagnuolo, even though he coached a very good game defensively against Josh Allen, he did make some key mistakes. Can't leave that rookie cornerback on the island against Stephon Diggs. Can't do it. Led to a touchdown right away. Like, you just can't do that. That's not smart football. But are you going to bet on, John, that Patrick Mahomes is going to turn the football over twice again if they play again? I don't think so.
The first read in the first was something Matt Mahomes has done in the past.
Yeah. Okay. But again, you say that I'll put my faith that Mahomes will get it figured out, and he won't turn the football over. And now I'm not going to say it wasn't Mahomes' fault. The last one, especially the game-ending one, was completely it was just not a good read. But you say that Tyreek Hill is missing. I say I don't think so. I just think the Chiefs are playing a different style of football. I think the Chiefs are playing a very similar style to what the New England Patriots played when it was Gronkowski and a bunch of other guys, right? Remember that? They got their Travis Kelce, right? Their Gronk. And they got some other guys with some talent. Patrick Mahomes has got just enough to do very well. He's got guys. Juju Smith-Schuster. He's got the Travis Kelce. He's got some receiving backs. MVS.
Nicole Harmon.
Who's McCole Harmon. He's got to play a lot better. McCole Harmon. But they've got guys out there that can get the job done.
Do they have the Patriots running game?
No, I mean, what didn't Justin come on here like a week or two ago and saying, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is playing out of his mind?
Yeah, yesterday he had 33 yards.
Yeah, he didn't play well. They didn't run it at all. They only ran it 9 times with them. So, I mean, they got to stay more committed. Who would have thought that both of these teams don't really like to run that much. But I will give the Bills credit. They actually played smart football yesterday. They ran the football. Surprise, surprise, it actually worked, right? But yeah, if these teams meet again in the playoffs, I'll pick the Chiefs because while I agree the Bills are a better team on paper and talent wise in totality, I just would take Patrick Mahomes over Josh Allen. And I think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going to figure it out and they'll be able to play a much better game, a much cleaner game if these two teams meet around again.
I agree with you. I think this is kind of a battle of neither team played their best brand of football yesterday. Whichever one is closer to 100%, whichever one is clicking. Right now, these are just the top two teams in the league fluctuating. And I think Philadelphia can make it into that realm. But currently speaking, two best quarterbacks in football. Clyde Edwards-Helaire this year is averaging less rushing yards a game. He went from 52 to 42 in the same yards attempt. So he's had some good weeks, but the last 2 weeks, total 48 rushing yards. So not ideally, New England's running game with Rob Gronkowski back in the day.
Well, we didn't have a very good running game either. But, yeah, I think it's our time, John.
It is.
Like to
This episode is brought to you by our friends over at BetStamp. If you're new to the world of sports betting, such as some of us here at the Wise Guys podcast, what BetStamp provides you with is an all-in-one platform where you can find the best available odds and educate yourself on what the betting market's going to bring to you each and every single week. Right now, we got the Broncos going head-to-head with the Chargers. It's, the Broncos, I don't expect to win this game, but we're only 6 minutes in, and if you want to, go use the BetStamp app. Be sure to use our referral code at the Wise Guys. That is WISEGUYS. Let them know who sent you. And most of all, it is free. So try it for yourself. Let us know how you feel about it. And join us in the app in the comments down below.
BetStamp, yep. Next up.
Sorry, I blanked right there. I was watching the Chargers game. We were going to talk about, I want to save the next topic. We had to talk about the Steelers. Last week I came on here and was hypercritical of Mike Tomlin, said he should have been on the hot seat. The Steelers team was on track to have a top 5 pick for the first time in 50 some odd years, one of their worst starts in recent memory. And they came out against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Brent. Before the game starts, the Buccaneers are huddling on the Steelers logo, which is just, okay, we get it. And the Steelers missing 6 defensive starters. TJ, Minka, Cam Sutton, Ahkello Witherspoon, Levi Wallace, and DeMarvin Leal came in and had one of the best team performances of the week. Special teams, Steven Sims. I mean, dude, Gunnar Olszewski sucks. I'm not trying to be that guy, but he was so bad for us. The return yards, he had 2 fumbles. He was god-awful. Steven Sims comes in the week before he had an eye injury in warm-ups and has a crucial, and I mean crucial, 90-yard kickoff return to start the second half, giving the Steelers ultimate field goal position to get a field goal. But when I watched this game recap, I said to myself, this is exactly what the Steelers are capable of. Each and every single week, they have the talent to compete with some of the best teams in the league, like a Tampa Bay. Maybe not a Buffalo because of how explosive they are, or a Kansas City, but really, even a Philadelphia, a Dallas. The Steelers can be better than all of those teams. Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and George Pickens is one of the better receiver duos in the NFL, or trios. The offensive line this year has been average, a little bit below in the running game, but pass protection has held up somewhat. And the defense is supposed to be elite. It is supposed to limit a Tom Brady like this. But Brandon, I have to give credit where it's due. This defensive performance, with the secondary consisting of Terrell Edmonds, good player, Trey Norwood, a second-round pick or second-year player that was taken out of the 7th round, Arthur Maulet, James Pierre, and Josh Jackson, was incredible. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are on the other side, and they limited Tampa Bay to 18 points. I have to give credit to the guys up front. They set the edge, and they stopped Leonard Fournette early in this game. But my biggest takeaway was, this is exactly the team Pittsburgh is supposed to be. Spread the offense out, get the receivers and the weapons the ball, but most of all, get the quarterback to make quick decisions. And the story of this game was Kenny Pickett, midway through this third quarter, getting a concussion on an open blitz by, I think it was Devin White, if memory serves. And Mitchell Trubisky comes in and has himself the best quarter of the season by far. He marches down the field, connects with Chase Claypool for a touchdown, And when Tom Brady responds to set the score up at 20-18, who comes knocking at the door to end the game, sealing it for the Steelers, but Devin Bush, getting a 2-point conversion stop with just 4 minutes left in the game. Devin Bush's most important play in probably the last 3 years. A guy who has not been very good this year, making the biggest play of the game. But it wasn't over. The following possession, Mason calls basically a snap into the turf. Trubisky saves it and goes on to connect on 3 third downs, throwing absolute dots to George Pickens, Chase Claypool, and last but not least, taking a victory formation. I hate to say this because when Trubisky came in, I tweeted, watching Mitch Trubisky under center is like a slow death. There may be a quarterback controversy in Pittsburgh. We go into Miami next week, and if Trubisky plays well, he keeps this pace up. I don't know why the Steelers would exactly say to themselves, okay, let's throw Pickett back in there if Trubisky's helping them win games, and played at the level he did on Sunday against a top-tier defense in Tampa Bay. What Trubisky did was incredible, and as a guy who was very critical, I had to give him my respect.
Yeah, you say top-tier defense in Tampa Bay. I mean, they ain't playing like it. If there was a top-tier defense, John, Mr. Trubisky wouldn't have converted 2 third and longs late in the game. All right, like that's just ridiculous. Yeah, shout out to Miles Jack, who made an incredible play on an easy touchdown pass to Cameron Brate early in the game that would have really changed the whole dynamic of this game. He stretched his entire. I mean, the guy looked like Mr. Fantastic out there. And shout out to Devin Bush, who made the key pass bat down on the 2-point conversion play to Chris Godwin, because if he wasn't there, that would have been a completed pass. And now we're really talking. These are games that I'm just going to say it, and there's been a couple of games, like I would say maybe 5 or 6, maybe a couple more, over Brady's tenure in Tampa Bay that I look at, and after the game, it's mostly like it's a loss. I say to myself, if just take this Tampa Bay team, put them in New England. You follow what I'm saying? So take this team in its entirety, put them in New England under Bill Belichick's coaching staff. They don't lose those games. Yesterday, if Bill Belichick is coaching and this is a New England Patriots team, John, they don't lose that game. They don't, because Brady plays much better. The defense is not getting torn to shreds by teams, and it's just I don't understand what's going on. They let Brady off. I'm not going to say that. Bill Belichick's style of coaching is very, like it's football. Like we do football, do your job. They don't let anybody really get out of line. And a bunch of other coaches are lackadaisical with that. Whatever, you got your player coaches like Pete Carroll or Mike Tomlin, Rex Ryan, all those guys. That's what I'm talking about, though. Like just mistakes, like they wouldn't be happening under Bill Belichick. Now, Tom has proven that his style can work. He went out and won a Super Bowl in a pandemic year. Right? He did that. He won MVP last year, or not. He was number 2 in MVP voting last year. But yeah, I have no concerns in Tampa Bay. It was a bad day. It was a dud of a day. Watch the tape, learn from it, get better, play better. They're more capable than this. The defense has to play much better, like they were the first couple weeks of the season where they were lights out. What was the one game where it broke open that they just they were shutting people down, right, on the run game, and then the one game, I forget, it might have been week 3. They haven't been the same since. And the defense needs to play better. The offense needs to play better. But I think they're going to figure it out because I have my faith in Tom Brady and them figuring it out throughout the season.
You hit the nail on the head. The Buccaneers got humbled. This was a team many had as a safe top 3 team pick coming into the year. And so far this season, starting off at 3-3, they're seeing the holes in this team. Tom Brady losing it and fathering his offensive linemen in the second half. I think it was the second half, if memory serves. And like you said, this defense, it has the talent all across the board, But what really set the tone for this game was a third down in the first drive. I think you're going to know what I'm talking about, where Pickett misfires to George Pickens in the right hash, and he gets roughing the passer. He drives it on, I believe, Levante David, who just, pushed him unnecessarily. The ref flows the flag. That led to the Steelers getting the first score of the game. Pittsburgh came out with a level of aggression, and typically it always reminds me of when somebody has nothing to lose in life, whether it's a team or a person, they're the most deadly. They're not only going to be aggressive, they're resilient, and whatever it is that they want, they're not going to stop until they get it, unless you put them out. And the first drive, the Steelers go for it on a 4th and 1 on Tampa Bay's 20-yard line, and they get it. And that really set the tone for a game where if Tampa Bay wanted to beat them, they had to go for it on 4th down. They had to extend. And most of all, defensively, I was pretty shocked at how they weren't able to stop the Steelers' offense. But at the end of the day, you have to give credit to Mitch Trubisky. He played an awesome game. And the crazy thing about it was, when he got benched for Nick Foles in 2020, he came back 7 weeks later and helped bring his team to the playoffs and play his best football yet. So it's this weird conundrum with Mitch where, same old Mitch, this guy was taking the 2nd overall pick, but then he gets benched and just starts to figure it out. So if he can continue, to some extent, making the throws he did on Sunday, he didn't look like a backup quarterback. He looked like a guy playing for a starting spot in the NFL. And that was one hell of an audition, if you ask me.
Now it was the Chiefs game that they allowed 189 yards rushing against the Chiefs and then 151 against Atlanta last week. They only held you guys. They held you guys to like 77, I think, in total. But the pass defense didn't play. They just haven't played well as a unit. And the play you're talking about, it was Devin White, not Levante David, that pushed Kenny Pickett. That wouldn't happen on on a Bill Belichick coach team because that's not smart football. Why are you doing that? You know that's stupid. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like those things wouldn't happen, be tolerated under Bill. So, yeah. But I'm not worried on the Buccaneers. They'll be fine. They'll get it together.
You better believe, because this Eagles team right now, Brandon, is a top 3 team in football. You had them not beating Cooper Rush and the Cowboys, but Cooper Rush showed all of his flaws yesterday on Sunday Night Football. It was a game where, very clearly, the Cowboys made a rally in the second half, but this Philadelphia team has the toughness, mental fortitude, and all-around talent on both ends to beat anybody in the NFL. I look at this game and say to myself, right now in the NFC, while we're going to react to the best team with the record so far, the Eagles truly are the best team. Not just because of the teams that they've beaten, but when you look at this roster and the coaching, you gotta give credit to Dallas for making this game competitive. But at the end of the day, the Eagles are still getting better. They are one of the youngest teams in football that a year ago wasn't even supposed to make the playoffs. And now they've risen to a level where nobody can beat them. You have to give credit to this defense, which Darius Slay is an absolute stud. The defensive line, it hasn't been quite the level you would hope, but I think when we get to December and January, the coldest months of the year, they're going to run the football better than they did yesterday. The defense is going to be better at every level. And Jalen Hurts, I think, is going to show a lot of people in the second half of this year. This start to the season hasn't just been a fluke. He really is one of the better, more dynamic quarterbacks in the league.
So I'll just tell you about these Cowboys, right? Pros for these Cowboys. Phenomenal pass defense. Dak is coming back. The O-line is still good. Zeke and Pollard are a very good duo. Zeke looked very good last night. I mean, that one touchdown run was old Zeke of old. Yep. But the cons for the Cowboys. Can't stop the run. Can't do it. CeeDee Lamb, we're still unsure. Are you a number one or not? And Mike McCarthy's still not the guy as the head coach. Now, with the run, with can't stop the run, that's okay, but you have to play a style of football that's gonna, help negate that weakness, which is close games, which means, guess what, John? You can't go down 20-0. That can't happen when you can't stop the run. But one key thing was ending the first half 20-3 instead of 20-7 was major. Because if they were able to score that touchdown, going into halftime, we might be sitting here having a different discussion with Cooper Rush, because in that second half, the Cowboys made it interesting, and Cooper Rush made it interesting. Now the Cowboys defense needed to make one more stop after it was 20-17, and they couldn't do it. They let up a touchdown. Cooper Rush then goes out and he throws an interception, and that was basically ball game. But Dak is coming back. I think this game is. I'm going to say now, if the Cowboys are healthy, and even if the Eagles are healthy in the second matchup, I think the Cowboys are winning. 100%. I think the Cowboys are winning, because I think if Dak Prescott is playing in that game, the Cowboys win that game.
Dallas is a really good regular season team. I think in the NFC, the Eagles are going to finish with 13 or 14 wins, and the Cowboys are going to finish with 11 or 12. We know what they're going to do, and sure, they can beat Philadelphia, BCAP, but like you said, they're just not a contender because of the head coach. You can win a Super Bowl in the NFL with a good but not great quarterback, and that's what Dak is. He's a good starter, not a top 5, top 10 guy. But you can't win a Super Bowl when your head coach continues, especially in terms of the clock management late in games, and generally knowing how to kind of, I feel like McCarthy in some ways, he comes to a gunfight with a knife, just very unprepared. And when I look
Too many penalties.
Too many penalties. Yeah, the penalties are not great. And when you look at how long he's been a head coach for, he's been a head coach longer than I've been alive, almost. Nearly. So it's not like a first-year head coach or second-year guy, Nick Sirianni. No, this guy's shown you who he is. Nothing's going to change here. That's why for the Cowboys, for as good as his defense has been, they got 4 sacks yesterday against a very banged-up Eagles offensive line, I might add.
Yeah, now we would be remiss if we didn't add that also a big thing that changed between the first half and the second half was Lane Johnson going out. That was a key loss, because then Micah Parsons the first play that Lane Johnson was out, dude, Micah Parsons said, "I'm coming right at you," and he blasted through. I don't think he got to Jalen Hurts, but he basically got to Jalen. Like, he was like, "I'm here, baby. Yep, I'm here now." So I don't know if that's a significant injury for Lane Johnson. I haven't heard any updates, but that could be very key if he's, because guess what? Again, what does everybody always say? It's a battle of attrition in the NFL. Tyron Smith got injured early. He's on track to come back maybe late December or something. Now you've got a much deeper and healthier O-line for Cowboys. Guess who's coming back next week against a game that nobody's really going to be talking about that much? It's at 1 o'clock. It's against the Cowboys. Oh, it's just a guy by the name of the starting quarterback, Dak Prescott. Getting healthy at the right times is big.
It is, and Lane Johnson's concussion will probably miss the next week or two. I want to ask for your top 5 teams, but we are recording an episode tomorrow with J. Ray. Do you want to save it for then, or do you want to host it right now, right after Sunday night games and Monday night?
Yeah, I'd rather wait. I don't have them right now.
Okay, so the last part of the show is your New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to sustain this. I think later in the year, this team just lacks talent. And while you're going to talk all the way about Ramondre Stevenson, who is a stud of a young running back, defensively, I have a hard time seeing them continue on the back end playing as well as they have. When I look at Jack Jones's production, Jonathan Jones, who's been hurt, I have a hard time in this division where they're the fourth, in my opinion, the fourth team. I think the Jets have a more well-built, younger roster with a lot more upside. The Dolphins are a team that beat them and have shown when Tua is in there, they haven't lost a game. You give him time to heal up, he'll be the guy leading this team to 10, 11 wins. And Buffalo as well. Some team in this division is going to be the odd man out. You just can't have 4 teams with 9 wins.
John, is this Patriots offense worse than it was last year? You think it's better?
I think it's around the similar level with Devontae Parker making some
same
plays.
Same. What about the defense? Same, better, or worse than last year?
On paper, it's worse, but with how they performed through 6 games, it's better.
Better. Okay. So how the hell are the New York Jets going to beat us when we swept them both games last year?
Jets are a much different team. Last year, they're starting 7 rookies.
Okay. We got some rookies, too. We had a
Sure.
rookie quarterback last year too. We did as
My-
well. We had a rookie quarterback as well.
My
We had
belief
that.
in the Jets comes from Zach Wilson improving. This was a guy who lost a lot of reps in preseason. In the regular season, he's just getting to 100%.
Oh,
So
I don't want
with
to hear
more
it. That's not an
reps,
excuse for you.
but it's
Can't do
different
it.
with the second-year guy that only played 13 games in year
No.
one. These young quarterbacks need reps to figure it all out. And that Jets offense on Sunday was not good. I know Brees Hall made plays in the second half, but it was terrible. And Green Bay played a very good game. But I say to myself, you guys play the Jets in how many weeks? I'm about to look it up.
We play them not this week, but next week.
So week
Not
8,
this upcoming week. the
October
week after.
30th.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson's fifth start this season, I could see him averaging, 240 yards. He's a guy that he's going to make you miss. The first guy getting into the pocket. He has decent pocket presence, not the best. And
Did you
the arm
watch him
talent-
against New England last year?
He was a rookie guy being thrown against Bill
So was
Belichick.
Mac Jones.
Mac is a more polished, ready-made prospect. Much more.
So what's changed this year?
Reps. A full year of development. Much improved running back
You
room.
just said he only played 13 games. So he has how many games has he played this year? 3?
3.
He played 13. He hasn't even played a full new season of the NFL yet, John.
Well, that'll be his 18th game against the Pats.
Yeah. I just don't know what you see in this kid. I mean, I get the arm talent. I see that too. That's obvious, right? You just watch him play and you can see the arm talent. Nobody's debating that. He's just he's not the guy, man. He's not. And I'm sorry to tell you why. Why is he
Why are
not
you
the
doing
guy?
this?
What do you mean? Why am I doing this? I'm sorry. If he's so special, John, if he's got such a incredible arm, why are they only letting him throw the ball 18 times and 21 the last 2 weeks?
He was running for his life out there, bro.
Okay.
What
So what do you think's going to change when Matthew Judon's coming for his neck and Bill Belichick disguising blitzes and whatnot?
Don't you think it helps having more weeks to work and build chemistry with Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore getting more opportunities? I have to give a tip of the cap to Mike LaFleur, excuse me. They had a very solid, couple of very nice end arounds. Braxton Berrios has been utilized on end arounds. The Jets' play calling has been a lot better than it was last year as well. It's been better
By the way,
too.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up. Do you know who played yesterday for the New England Patriots? He made his, I don't know if it was his debut, if last week was his, but I think it was his debut. You know who played? Speedster, receiver, Baylor, Taekwon Thornton. You know what he did yesterday, John?
The same thing Wan'Dale Robinson did.
2 touchdowns. Not 1, but 2. 1 rushing, 1
Yeah.
receiving. I don't know. I'm just saying, did Devontae Parker make an insane deep catch from Bailey Zappi?
Nice
You're
throw.
damn right he did. Has Hunter Henry been rejuvenated under Bailey Zappi, and maybe hopefully he can produce that into when Mac Jones come back? Hell yeah. Did Jonnu Smith have a 50-plus yard catch and then run in that game yesterday? Damn right he did.
Were the Browns without Denzel Ward, and even with Denzel Ward, a massively underperforming defense this season?
Did
Hell
we have
yeah.
Jonathan Jones? What about Damian Harris?
Running back is the most replaceable position in sports, my friend.
Okay. But Jonathan Jones was out too.
That Browns
Christian
defense
Barmore.
just isn't good.
Christian Barmore, our young rookie D tackle, our second-year tackle, he got injured in the game. We go tit for tat with these injuries, John. Let's just admit, listen, Nick Chubb got held. He's been balling this year. Patriots shut him down.
I just say to myself, we're going to come back in 7 weeks, my friend, and the Jets will have a better record than the Patriots.
No, we're gonna come back and literally. I can't wait for this Jets game. Oh man, and we play them. So we go Bears, Patriots, Jets, Patriots, Colts, Patriots, Jets, Patriots. I cannot freaking wait. They're getting swept. Jets fans, get ready. You're getting swept twice by New England again.
I want you to do yourself a favor. Look at the Patriots schedule and look at the Jets. I mean, let's keep in mind the Patriots have, after that Jet game, the Vikings, the Bills, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Bills. The two
Yeah,
worst
you
teams
forgot to
there
mention-
are the Cardinals and the Raiders, two teams fighting for dear life to make it to the postseason with two coaches with a ton to prove. You
Yep.
were lucky to win half of those games. Whereas
Guess
the
what?
Jets have one of the best.
Guess what? John, guess what? Forgot to mention the Vikings game is prime time. It's Thanksgiving. We're splitting with the Bills this year. Raiders, they got the talent. Not that good. Cardinals, yeah. Bengals, have they been in a disappointment this year? Yep. And we're beating the Dolphins because guess what? They're coming to New England in December. So I hope Tua enjoys his cold weather. Buddy, look at the schedule a little bit deeper. The New England Patriots are trying to tell you something. John, I'm trying to whisper something in your ear and you just won't hear it, man.
The Jets' last 4 games are against Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle, and then the Dolphins, January 8th. I think they can beat the Dolphins
In
last
Miami
week of
or
the
in
season.
New York?
Good question. It's in Miami.
Yeah. Good luck with that, especially because they're going to be coming off a loss against us, Dolphins, and that might be a playoff. But John, I cannot wait to see how this season unfolds. I think I'm going to have the last laugh.
This is a 10-win team in New York. And if Zach Wilson takes that step up, the offensive line improves. Elijah Vera Tucker's been good and versatile. They can win 11 games as well, maybe 12.
Okay.
It all depends on Zach Wilson, but it's hard to say he's going to be worse than what he has been the last couple of weeks. And if that is the case where he is worse, then I'll readjust my pick. The Jets are probably an 8-win team. But if you just look at what we see from rookie quarterbacks and young guys, Zach Wilson's going to improve. And with his defense continuing to take it
There's
up
no
one notch out
going.
to the
There's
level,
no guarantee in the NFL, John.
buddy,
There's no guarantee.
this is the
buddy.
Jets defense. It's
Yeah.
going up. The stock, buy it now, my friend, because Quentin Williams is an all-pro. Sauce Gardner is a young superstar, and they have the pieces.
John, have I ever disrespected their defense? I've only said Zach Wilson. That's it.
Their defense is better than New England's.
We'll see.
And that offense, when push comes to shove at the end of the year,
I bet you they wouldn't have been able to shut out the Detroit Lions. I don't think they would have held Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt to 56 and 12 yards apiece.
The Jets just held A.J. Dillon to 3.1 yards a carry and Aaron Jones to 2.1.
Packers don't have a good enough. They don't have a running game like the Cleveland Browns. Browns is number 1 in the NFL.
Okay, but the Packers, that's supposed to be their bread and butter. Those backs.
John, no. But they don't use them the right way, though.
They don't. But still,
They don't.
the Jets this year have continued to get better and better, creating plays in the back end. And let me tell you, Zach Wilson is going to be a darn fine quarterback. And the reason why I roll my eyes again the second time this episode, why are you rushing with the quarterback? You've barely seen this kid play. He is 23 years old with so much to prove.
Nobody. I'm making a prediction. I've seen him play twice against the Patriots. The first game was like words can't describe how bad it was.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
How about Justin Herbert's first game against the Patriots? Horrible, right? And Justin Herbert's had the greatest first 2 seasons by a young quarterback in NFL history. So that's not indicative of the character of the quarterback, the talent that he has.
Oh, he hasn't.
Herbert, okay, I'm not really counting Mahomes because he sat his first season. Herbert came in and immediately was that guy in year 1. Okay. The best rookie quarterback season of all time. So don't put that all on Zach Wilson because last year he had very good moments, and this year he's going to continue to take necessary steps on a much better team where there's so much less pressure on him to perform.
I think we're picking out these moments like, I don't know, like a needle in a haystack.
The Jets have a winning formula with a young, budding star under center.
Okay.
I'm just saying, man, watch out. Because Robert
if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Jets fans were calling for Saleh's job a couple weeks ago, right?
Which was unreasonable if they were. Yeah. Because he never had personnel last year defensively. Now he does. Right. Look at that unit.
Jets are going to be Jets.
Okay. You can use that logic, but as you always say, you ain't done something until you've done it.
Joe Namath. Joe Namath.
There you go. So, with all of that being said, Joe Namath's the topic at hand. That'll wrap up episode number 38 of the Wise Guys podcast. Be sure to use BetStamp and use our referral code. Let them know who sent you. And drop a like. Let us know in the comments down below, New England or the Jets. And as always, I'll see you, and BCAP will see you next time. Hit him with it.
Stay classy.